is what is it geared towards?
Yes.
Is it always geared towards, hey, I'm getting faster, I'm trying to move more weight?
Even top level Olympic athletes, they're not necessarily healthy.
Every player has an expiration date.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the StrongBullPodcast. I'm Wendy Shafransky, and again, I am joined by Dom Dixon and Rob Delacruz. And today our topic is going to dig into training and goals. So typically people train for one of three things: performance, or aesthetics, or longevity. So we're just going to have an open discussion of what each looks like. Does it change over time? What's the best? What's not so great? So
I'll start a little bit with it because longevity is a buzzword right now, and a lot of people are talking about it. They weren't as much before, but like we said before, that it's the goals. Are they playing a sport? Are they trying to do something? Now, if you're just general population trying to be healthy, then I would say it looks a certain way.
Absolutely.
And it's a balance.
Yeah, and your training should reflect that too, right? Your lifestyle, your goals. I think it's gone in trends, right? I think aesthetics was so big and people were just trying to cut corners to get to aesthetics, which I think it's always an underlying base from people saying, I want to look good. And then you have the performance aspect, right? When sport comes into play. As you age, sport is so big in our youth. And as we get older, our sport changes, whether that's CrossFit, whether that's pickleball, whether that's golf. Sport is the main focus. And I think for some of the people who are goal-oriented, sport never actually changes. It just evolves to something different.
Okay.
So for me, I think they all three play a huge factor in your training and in your overall lifestyle. But, it does depend on where you're at in your life. And I think, each person shifts and moves from each one, like being the main focus, so the driver.
Right.
Yeah, when you look at like a program that you're doing, is what is it geared towards?
Yes.
Is it always geared towards, hey, I'm getting faster, I'm trying to move more weight, I'm always trying, because like higher level athletics does correlate to some aesthetics.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a certain look.
It does, but it also, you can give up some of the longevity by trying to meet these goals of always getting faster or stronger. So you got to kind of be careful with that part. And then aesthetics, you're trying to look good, but it doesn't always mean you could be exactly healthy.
Yeah.
And for longevity.
Absolutely.
So like when I'm working with someone and they're a former athlete and they are always going for athletics or performance, you might gear them a little bit towards like, hey, a little bit of aesthetic just for them to get a different like mindset.
Yeah.
And like, hey, think about longevity.
Yeah.
Or like what's going to affect you later on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're in aesthetics, I always would take someone out of aesthetics and like go into performance a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, let's focus on these performance goals a little bit, get a little stronger, not worrying about how I looked or exactly what the scale is.
Yeah. Or even that, I think aesthetics is kind of contradicting to longevity because it's hard to hold a certain aesthetic when you're going for longevity goals, because there's nutrition that comes into play, there's age, there's all these different factors. But most people think that they can do what they did when they were younger aesthetically to achieve longevity, and you really can't. I mean, it's hard to do so unless you are, genetics played in a role, lifestyle plays in a role, nutrition, all these different things. But most people are in that battle of like, oh, I'm going to starve myself, I'm going to work just as hard as I used to.
Right.
And then they're like, well, why don't I look the same? Why don't I feel the same? It's like, well, you're burning at both ends.
Yeah, and I think if you're chasing aesthetics constantly or performance constantly, those don't necessarily correlate with health.
Not at all.
Look at bodybuilders and their science experiment, they're not healthy. Or even top level Olympic athletes, they're not, necessarily healthy.
Yeah.
High level football players, like all high level athletes, they're like, overall, some of them seem to like not live as long.
Yeah.
On their when I was younger in training, it was mostly aesthetics with some athletic training, and then also in CrossFit and some of these other different modalities came out, and then it became a lot about basically performance. And I never seen people train so much and so often, and there's so many younger guys I can just name off that were training so much that we did not do when we were younger in different ways. And I tried to explain to them, hey, when you get older, you start getting to my age, you're not going to be able to do the things you want to do because it's going to take away what you can do later on in life. And I don't even see any of them around anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And I think also if you're constantly going for performance and you're not a paid athlete, there's a lot of like behavior and mindset things that happen. Like we've seen it at our gym. You know, if you have like a max lift for the day or a benchmark workout or something like that, and someone doesn't do how they hoped that they were going to do, it ruins their day. You know, temper tantrum, they're done. And you're like, dude, you're an accountant. You know, I mean, like that. So
that's underneath a lot of stress. It doesn't sleep well. And you got 2 kids, and then it's like.
So I think you should want to be able to perform well for you, but that doesn't mean you're an athlete.
Well, it shouldn't be the only factor.
Exactly.
And so when you have a program that the majority of the factors, like how fast can I go, how heavy can I lift, then that's going to gear towards a certain behavior.
Yeah.
And then you're going to drive all that towards there.
Absolutely.
And so that's what you're going to get with that.
Yeah, I had a mindset shift big time. I used to make it to CrossFit regionals in my 30s. My last year I was at regionals I was 39, and then I'm like, all right, maybe I can make a run at the games in my 40s. So when I was 40 to 42, I was, doing the 2-a-days, training like crazy. Body hurt so bad all the time. Yeah. And then I just was like, and I came close, but then I was like, what the hell am I doing? I'm a business owner.
Yeah.
I don't get paid for this. And so now at age 49, almost 50, like, I just want to be strong for my age. And, I don't lift the same as I did when I was 42, but I'm strong, and that's okay. And I don't look back because I'm not going that way,
Exactly,
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 factors that I saw. One was like on the aesthetic side. I would see people that would do bodybuilding shows, and they would take performance enhancers and whatever they would do, but then they would run out of breath really quick doing something. I was like, wait, these guys are not healthy. And then they would diet down, and I was like, all right, they're not healthy. And then I saw in, the performance space, when it comes to like more like CrossFit or with those athletics, the more work capacity you have, the more healthier you're supposed to be and longevity. And I started realizing, wait, some of these guys have, especially like in the older crowd, which it affects everybody down, you just don't see it as much. They start getting a lot of work capacity, but they were not that healthy.
No.
When you look at their blood markers, like joint issues, like what's going to happen to them later on. I was like, whoa, wait a second. You can way overdo that too.
Absolutely.
So it's like a good balance. And the program you should be doing has got a little bit of balance of everything.
Absolutely.
But if it's geared one way, then you're going to see it's not going to have longevity in it.
Yeah. A coach said something to me a long time ago, and it stuck with me even now in my training. He said, every player has an expiration date. Every game has and it stuck with me, and I took it into my training, and I try to think that same way. Like, don't compete with who I was, compete with who I am. And it makes that mentality of like, all right, whatever I'm doing now is for me right now, and it's for my future self, but the guy behind me, he's no longer there, so just keep moving. So people now with performance, they are so tied with who they were, and it doesn't drive who they are now, so then it ruins who they're going to be. And a lot of CrossFitters, you don't see the guy who looks the best on the podium every time. Like, look at Matt Frazier. He is, no offense, but he's an average Joe. He's not cut up, he's not huge.
Yeah.
He's healthy. At the time when he was competing, and he won like, over and over again. So it's like a testament. Like, performance doesn't always go with aesthetics. Longevity is how you win in this game called life, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean he won year after year, and a lot of people would give a lot up.
Yeah.
But go back, how much did he give up later on? Like we don't know but you're giving something up to have that level.
Absolutely.
Right.
And when it comes to general population in a group class, you shouldn't be giving up that.
That's
that
1%, right?
Yeah.
It's like
you want to be doing it for years and years and years.
Exactly.
I mean, we have people that I've worked with for over 20 years. We have people in the facility for over 15 years.
And that's winning to me. Honestly.
To have them that long, yes.
Well, when you're in your 20s and 30s, you don't necessarily think I'm training for longevity, but maybe it's phrased as I'm training for health, which is great. Once you get 40, it becomes longevity. But I also think that if you lead with longevity, you can have aesthetics and performance.
Absolutely.
One is healthy looks good.
Yep.
Don't. It's how you define these things. Like you're not defining aesthetics as a 6-pack or you're going to walk on stage. You're just you fit in your clothes. You feel good about yourself. That's aesthetics. And then in terms of performance, like you're just well-rounded. You'll be able to run a mile if you need to, or you throw your kids in the air, or back squat 1.5 times your body weight, or whatever.
Absolutely.
And so that's what performance means to you at times. So I think it's also the mindset of how you define these things.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you can't have all 3.
You're 100% right, and I think like what people run into, and I've said this before, is the industry like feeds into it, but what is like optimal intolerable is so different.
Right.
And
Should
you
be in your
need so
forefront,
much
yeah.
less than you think to be in the area where you want to be.
Yes.
And a lot of times when you start going to tolerable, you're actually taken away, and it's going to take longer to be in that spot.
Absolutely.
Never mind later on longevity.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of people are comparing themselves to what they see on Instagram, which is a highlights reel, Photoshop, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, bring it back to yourself and what works for you and what you can be proud of, and don't worry about what everybody else is doing.
You know the old saying of strength and conditioning. When you're in your 20s, if you train like you're in your 40s with like intelligence, knowledge, progressions, when you're in your 40s, you'll feel more like you're in your 20s.
Yep, absolutely.
And that is the most true statement.
Absolutely, yes, I agree.
All right, so I'll have one more question and we can wrap this up. What's the dumbest thing you did in your 20s, training-wise?
You know what? I would say later on, I did pretty good because when we were younger, we were taught never to like overlap the body parts. So it was like this day's this, and you would never squat and then deadlift together or within a certain amount of time. So like that helped me for a long time.
Yeah.
Not until I actually got into CrossFit and training for it, that where I started overdoing things too often and like taxing lower back way too often and bringing myself to exhaustion and fatigue, and then trying to do something that I shouldn't have been doing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not blaming CrossFit, but I'm just saying that it
caused you
breeds
to
that
do
behavior a
things.
lot.
Yeah. Well, CrossFit is pure pressure. I used to do that while I was going to the gym, and three wads a day, like morning, middle, and but in your head you're like, all my friends are here. I'm going to train with them. But you don't realize you do that a couple times a week, and you can't even, wash your body because your hands are ripped. Like that's when I was like, I'm an idiot. Like I was like, that's the dumbest thing I did in my 20s, doing 3 wads a day, not going anywhere near a regional or a games, just in there doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, mine is probably putting a picture of my ripped hands up on social media. That's
Yeah.
so embarrassing.
That was back in the day. Like,
It's like, look at me, I'm so tough.
All right, so to wrap up, you can have longevity, aesthetics, and performance. It's just how you define it, but lead with longevity.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, see you next week.